And now, direct from Las Vegas, it's Football Forecast Weekly.
Welcome to Football Forecast Weekly. I'm Trip Mitchell, and we had a lot of fun last week. If you picked on my picks, Trip's tips, you went 3-0, and I'll brag about it a little bit. On Saturday, I gave out the Syracuse Orange, and they laid 15 and still had no problem at all. On Sunday, the Detroit Lions went into Washington and won for the first time, I believe, in 21 games. Big win for Matt Stafford and the Detroit Lions. And RG 0-3 is in big trouble. Can't really feel too bad about that. I'm not a big Shanahan fan. Also, the Giants being 0-3, I'm having a little fun with. Then on Monday night, Oakland is still suffering the wrath of Al Davis, even in post-death. That franchise is in big trouble. And I heard a Chris Rock joke a couple years ago that I love. It was right after McCain picked Sarah Palin, and Chris Rock said that pick was so bad, he thought Al Davis made it. So Al Davis continuing to be an interesting owner even in death. Let's talk a little bit about some of the games coming up this week. One of the games that I'm really excited about is an SEC matchup where LSU and Georgia tangle. Now let's talk about Georgia. Georgia started out playing 3 top 10 teams, including LSU, in the first couple of weeks of the season. If they win here, they can be very similar to Alabama last year. They can still win a national championship. So this is a must-win for them, and it should be very interesting. And we've got a quarterback situation with a quarterback playing for both teams, and his mom's an academic advisor at the other school. So that's always interesting. She got the week off. And then the second game that I'm focusing on is Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Now, I know Dennis hates Notre Dame with all his passion, but Oklahoma and Notre Dame, 2 proud schools with great tradition. They're both in the top 20. That should be a very interesting game. Now we'll take it down to the Sheriff in Vegas, Dennis Tobler, with some thoughts on these games and outing some handicappers giving out bad advice.
Thanks a lot, Trip, and welcome everyone back to Bet Central here in Las Vegas, where the information is originated, assimilated, and disseminated to all of the bookmakers, hedge funds, high rollers, wise guys, and of course you, the viewing public, are the big winners when you watch this show because you get information from real experts. And one of those real experts is Trip Mitchell. I need to toot his horn a little bit. He went 3-0 again last week, 3-1 the week before that. For a measly $20 bill, you can have Trip's top 3 selections each week by going to our wager strategy page. Let me tell you something. Trip's been a sports broadcaster for 25 years. He's been an athlete his entire life. He still plays hockey and is not afraid to get into a bang up on the boards. So this guy knows his sports, and you would do well by buying his selections. I'll tell you, a $20 bill won't get you any better purchase. And as well as myself, I had another winning week last week on my Gold Star selections. That makes 4 winning weeks in a row in the NFL. And week 4 in the NFL already? Can't hardly believe the time has passed so quickly. Before we get on to the games this week, I want to follow up a little bit about what I said about fake handicappers in the newspaper, on the radios, and on your television screens. I hate it when people who aren't really betting for a living try to tell you what to bet on with your hard-earned money. So, in keeping with the theme, without going into a diatribe, I want to show you again what came out in our local Las Vegas Review-Journal newspaper. It's called the RJ here in town, and that's short for Rag Job, because that's the kind of work they do when it comes to journalism. Here we go again, last Friday's paper. The top 4 selections, the week's best bets. All right, 3 out of 4 lose. The sports publisher or the sports editor for the RJ himself had the only winning selection there. But before we give him too much praise, I have another little clip from him where he picks his top 4 games of the week, 1-4. So you can count this guy out as again, and their losing selections are costing people money. So please don't pay any attention to this garbage, and search for the real experts when you want a real opinion. All right, let's get to the college football this week. The first matchup Trip mentioned is LSU at Georgia, and it certainly is an exciting game, and if Georgia loses, they're out of the national championship race. I don't think they're going to lose this game, but they are up against a former quarterback who did start at Georgia, like Trip mentioned, and it will be a very exciting game. I've been a little disappointed with Georgia to this point, but weaknesses on defense and the home field LSU's weaknesses on defense and the home field advantage for Georgia, between the hedges down there, probably get them the win. They're a 3-point favorite. Slight field by me on this one, but it's really not something I'm going to wager on. The second game that he's going to make me talk about again this week is Notre Dame. Trip, please don't let me talk about Notre Dame anymore this year. I'm sick of Notre Dame. They play Oklahoma this week. Oklahoma's a 3.5-point road favorite out at South Bend. Oklahoma's having their problems. I think Stoops is trying to work into a new system, and he's having a little trouble recruiting the Texas boys away from some of the schools like A&M and some of the new ones that are on the rise in the Southeast and Southwest old conferences. So anyway, in this matchup, Oklahoma is probably too good and too deep for Notre Dame. The 3.5 is a heavy price to lay on the road here. So here again, I don't have a strong opinion. That half point makes me think that Notre Dame may be the play in this one. But I'm not going to release it on my Gold Star selections. I'm just going to lean towards Notre Dame's direction. So that's it from here. I got some news and notes we need to catch up on. Back to you now, Trip.
Hey, thanks, Dennis. Appreciate that good information. And by the way, I want to start with a biblical proverb. It is much better to give than receive. And you might have noticed the missing tooth. I received 3 punches in a hockey game the other night and knocked a tooth out. I got to get that fixed this afternoon, but I would have much rather given than received. Hey, let me give you out some great picks right now, or talk about some great games, and Dennis will give you some good information coming up here in just a second. And I know Dennis has a very, very special play this weekend. He's very excited about it. He's gotten some inside information. 2 games that I'm really looking forward to. One, America's team visiting the Texans. America's team used to be the Cowboys. Not any longer. It's the Seattle Seahawks. Everyone loves Russell Wilson. They like Pete Carroll, and this team has really gotten America's fancy. But they're going up against the team that might have been the best team through the first 14 weeks of last season, or maybe 12 or 13 weeks, to be fair, until some injuries caught up with them, and that's the Texans. Texans have a great defense. They've got Arian Foster, who is a possession runner, one of the top runners in football. Schwab isn't bad either. So they're a good team, and they're hosting Seattle. That's going to be a good one. And then the other game I'm really excited about is the Battle of New England. What do you mean by that? New England's going to Atlanta. But you got to remember that the Atlanta quarterback played at Boston College. So this is an important game for him. He is, one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. This should be a great matchup. And Brady, boy, did he get screwed during the offseason. He lost Wes Welker, his leading receiver. Aaron Hernandez, obviously a huge tragedy. Gronk is out. So he's got a new receiving core, and he's just not on the same page with him. That being said, it's still New England, Atlanta. What a great game. Now we'll take it back to the Sheriff in Vegas, Dennis Tobler.
Okay, back here in Las Vegas, I want to give you some news and notes to catch up on, first of all. I want everybody to, when you're checking out the TV show, to go to the contest page on our website. As you see, this is a free contest where you can win your way to Vegas to spend Super Bowl weekend with the cast and crew of Football Forecast Weekly. We'll take you to the party and we'll put you up for 2 days here in town. It's a free entry, so don't forget to enter each week. Now, congratulations go out to Nathan, John P., and Adriana. Those are the winners of our first 3 weeks on the NFL contest. And you need to jump on board. The winners are listed on the website page each week, and it's a good shot for you to be able to come to Las Vegas for Super Bowl weekend. Now, speaking of the NFL, I have some insight first that I want to pass along to you. My Southeast scout, JPR, has contacted me with some vital information about some of the team in the Southeast that's going to happen this weekend. I went back and reviewed some game films, and that information I received is going to make me release one of my largest NFL plays of the year this weekend. So I want to thank JPR, my special Southeast scout, and this information will make you a winner. So let's take a look at the games that Tripp mentioned, the big press games this weekend. It's the Seahawks, of course, everybody's team, on the road to play Houston. Houston kind of fell on their face last year, as was mentioned earlier, but this year at home, playing the Seahawks, who are a 3-point road favorite, are overvalued in this spot. Houston has a running game. Houston has a pretty good team. Now, I'm telling you, if the coach down there doesn't get it done this year, I think he's about ready to be out because they have the talent to win. I think overall they're stronger than the Seahawks. They just have to control what do you want to call him? Russell football? Because he's every bit as good as Johnny football, and he's probably better. So anyway, I think that Houston will get the number on Seattle this week. The public's all over them. The line's askew. There's value in Houston, so take the Texans in this matchup. The other big matchup of the week, of course, is the the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New England Patriots. The Patriots had a couple close home games. Now they go out on the road to take on Atlanta. Atlanta has a bone to pick with the Patriots, and I think they just might get the best of them here. If you see Brady on the field this year, you can tell he's pissed off. He can't stand it that he's got these young receivers that aren't where they're supposed to be, that the linemen are making mistakes, and the defense has been tough and upheld the wins so far this year for the Patriots. On the road against Matt Ryan's going to be a different story here. It's a pick'em game right now. It could drift either way, but I'm going to go with Atlanta in this matchup. So those are the two NFL games, and I want to remind you I'm going to release one of my largest NFL games of the year on information received from JPR. So go to the contest page and check out that, and also be back again next week with more winning information.
Hey, thanks, Dennis, for those kind words. Please go to our wagering strategy page, and you'll get Dennis's Gold Star Select picks. He has been doing very, very well this year, and he's only been doing it for 30 years, so he is one of those tried and true handicappers whose only goal is to make you money. Speaking of making you money, Trips Tips, last week 3-0, the week before that 3-1. Very excited about that. Well, we're up to the last week in September. Boy, this football season has flown, and we've made money for you and made money for ourselves, and we are very excited. So for everyone at Football Forecast Weekly, I'm Trip Mitchell saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.